If you have been interested in the keto diet for weight loss but don't know much about it or where to begin, then stick around because this video is for you. In this video, I'm going to discuss all about the keto diet, how it works, what to eat, what not to eat, the benefits and challenges, and step-by-step instructions of how to get started. Let's get into it. So first of all, what is the keto diet? The keto diet is characterized as a diet composed of low carbohydrates, moderate proteins, and high fats. Now you may be thinking, how could a high-fat diet lead to weight loss? Well, it's because the science behind this diet actually shifts your body's primary energy source from glucose, which is sugar, over to fat. When carbohydrate intake is drastically reduced, the body enters a metabolic state known as ketosis. So what is ketosis? Ketosis is when your body starts burning fat for fuel instead of sugar or carbohydrates. Without sufficient carbohydrates in your body, your liver starts to produce something known as ketones, which provide fuel for your body and your brain. And when your body is in ketosis, you can actually experience increased fat burning, reduced appetite, more stable energy levels, and improved mental focus. Now let's talk about macronutrients and their breakdown for this diet. So the typical macronutrient breakdown for this diet includes consuming 70 to 75% fat, 20 to 25% protein, and 5 to 10% carbohydrates. And this can mean limiting your carbohydrates to 20 to 50 grams per day, which can be pretty restrictive because even certain fruits contain carbohydrates. For example, a medium-sized apple contains 25 grams of carbohydrates. So when you're really getting into the keto diet, you really have to watch all forms of carbohydrates, including those that come from fruits. Now let's discuss the benefits of the keto diet. Number one, which is the one that probably draws most people into starting the keto diet, and that is weight loss. When your body is in ketosis, you also have reduced levels of insulin and increased fat burning. So this not only helps with weight loss, but it also helps you to shed body fat. The second benefit of the keto diet includes appetite control. When you are eating more proteins and fats, it's actually more satiating than carbohydrates, which makes you feel fuller longer and experience less cravings. Benefit number 3 of the keto diet is blood sugar stability. In general, when your body is overloaded with carbohydrates, you can develop something known as insulin resistance, and this is the leading cause of prediabetes and diabetes. Therefore, you can imagine if you are lowering this carbohydrate intake, you can be at less risk for these diseases. Benefit number 4 is improved mental clarity. You may have experienced this yourself, but after eating a huge meal of a lot of carbohydrates, you may feel a lot of bloating, but also brain fog. Well, you can eliminate that brain fog when your body is in ketosis and burning fats instead of sugars. The 5th benefit is increased energy levels. If you are burning less carbohydrates, your body has a decreased risk of those blood sugar spikes and crashes, resulting in a more consistent energy level throughout the day. And the 6th benefit of the keto diet is other health benefits. If the keto diet is done correctly, studies have shown that it improves heart health, also certain neurological conditions, as well as helps in the management of PCOS. Now, before we get into more of the nitty-gritty of what foods to eat and not to eat on the keto diet, I just need to mention some of the challenges or side effects of this diet that can occur. When your body is first transitioning into burning more fats than carbohydrates, you can experience some flu-like symptoms, which has been termed keto flu. If you haven't heard of this already, basically you can experience similar flu-like symptoms, which includes headaches, fatigue, brain fog, irritability, nausea, or muscle cramps. The symptoms typically only last a few days to a week, and there are some things that you can do to prevent these side effects. So you just want to make sure that you are staying well hydrated. You also want to increase your electrolyte intake, including sodium, potassium, and magnesium. You can get those little electrolyte packets that you can add to water, and you just want to make sure that you are getting plenty of rest during the transition period. Moving right along, before we get into this next food list, if you are finding this video interesting or informative so far, make sure to hit the like button. So now we're going to discuss what foods to eat on the keto diet and what foods not to eat. Remember, the staple of the keto diet includes low carbohydrates, moderate protein, and high fats. When we discuss high fats, you want to be incorporating only healthy fats within this diet. And foods on this healthy fats list includes avocados, olive oil, coconut oil, butter and ghee, and also nuts and seeds. For your protein sources, you want to be incorporating foods such as eggs, poultry, which includes chicken or turkey, fatty fish such as salmon or mackerel, beef, pork, or lamb. You can also incorporate full-fat dairy, cheese, or Greek yogurt. On the list of low carbohydrate foods includes actually more vegetables. So on this list is going to be your leafy green vegetables, including spinach or kale, also broccoli, cauliflower, zucchini, asparagus, and cabbage. When you are not eating these main foods within the keto diet, some other staples could include berries in moderation because they do have some increased sugar or carbohydrates. Also, you can consume coffee or tea, bone broth, which you can add to soups. And when you are adding any type of dressing or condiments to your foods, you just want to make sure that they are sugar-free. What foods should you avoid on the keto diet? So again, this is going to be mostly anything that is considered in the high carbohydrate food category. And that includes your grains and starches, so foods including bread, pasta, rice, oats, and cereal. You want to be avoiding any type of sugary foods, including candy, soda, baked goods, fruit juices, and also most fruits are included in this category because they do contain higher sugars or higher carbohydrates, mostly bananas, apples, and grapes. Surprisingly, beans, legumes, and lentils are also on the do not eat list because they contain higher starches. Other high carbohydrate sources that you want to avoid include high starch vegetables, which includes potatoes, sweet potatoes, corn, and peas. And lastly, on this diet and in general, you should be avoiding all processed foods. Processed foods contains anything that comes in a package, including canned foods, frozen dinners, and packaged snacks. Fast foods would also be included in this category. Now that we know which foods are okay on the keto diet and which foods are not, let's get into more of a step-by-step plan of how to start this diet. So the first step is that you want to calculate your macronutrients. And if you're not sure how to do this, they actually have keto calculators on the internet. You can just search for one. It's going to ask you to incorporate some details, including your weight loss goal, your current weight, your activity levels, and your gender. And this is going to show you exactly how many grams of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats that you can consume each day while on this diet. So here's just a quick example of what that may look like. For instance, for a 2,000 calorie per day keto plan, you could consume 25 grams of carbohydrates. That's 5% of your total macronutrients. For proteins, you can consume 100 grams. That's 20% of your daily macronutrients. And lastly, for fats, you can consume 155 grams, which is 75% of your macronutrients. If you are able to follow more strictly these macronutrient calculations, you will lose weight. Step 2, when you are first starting out on the keto diet, is that you want to clean out all non-keto foods in your kitchen. When these foods, especially high carbohydrate foods, are not even in your kitchen, you have less temptation to eat them. Step 3 to starting the keto diet includes meal prep and meal planning. When you're first starting out, you may not have any idea of what types of meals to plan and prepare for while on this diet. So I'm going to help you out, and in my next video, I'm going to come up with a list of the most common and popular keto meals that you can eat. I will be breaking down each of these recipes and giving you more guidance of what to eat on this diet, so stay tuned for that video if that's something you're interested in. Step number 4 to starting the keto diet includes focusing on eating more whole foods. As we talked about earlier, processed foods are on the do not eat list for this diet. You will see in some grocery stores they even make packaged foods that say keto friendly. Well, even these may not be the best for this diet. Remember, in general, for healthy living, whole foods are much better to eat than packaged or processed foods. Step number 5 is you want to be tracking your macronutrient intake. There are certain apps you can download to help you do this. There is one called MyFitnessPal or Carb Manager. These can help you monitor your carbohydrate intake until you can get more of the hang of it on your own. Step number 6 to starting the keto diet is that you want to remember to stay hydrated. This is especially important when you are first starting to decrease your carbohydrate intake so that you don't develop some of those side effects which we talked about earlier, including headaches or fatigue. You want to be adding electrolytes to your water, and you can aim for at least 2 liters of water per day to prevent those keto flu symptoms. And lastly, step number 7 includes being patient. When you are first starting out, it could take a few days to a week for your body to enter ketosis, and before your body becomes even more efficient in the fat burning process, it could take up to 3 to 6 weeks. But if you can stick it out that long, that's when you're really gonna see the benefits of your weight loss and burning fat. Now, I just wanted to end with a few tips for long-term success with this diet, as well as a few mistakes to avoid. Tip number 1 is that you want to stay consistent with this diet in the macronutrients that you are consuming. For instance, even just one cheat day of eating high carbohydrates could kick your body out of ketosis and you would have to start all over again. Tip number 2 is that you want to get into the habit of reading labels because some low carbohydrate products still contain hidden sugars. Tip number 3 would be to listen to your body. Everybody responds a little bit differently to certain foods that they are eating, as well as different diet changes. So you want to be monitoring your own energy levels, your mood, and your digestion while on this diet and make adjustments as necessary. Tip number 4, to experience even more weight loss or fat burning, you can also incorporate intermittent fasting along with the keto diet. I have 2 other videos out now all about fasting as well as the benefits of fasting. So if that is something you're interested in, I encourage you to watch those videos, and that way you can incorporate intermittent fasting into your diet and weight loss journey. And the last tip would be to experiment with various keto recipes. You may be surprised to know that there are many keto-friendly options for pizza, breads, and desserts, which can keep your diet enjoyable. And don't forget to stay tuned for my next video coming out, which will share more about these keto-friendly recipes. Some of the mistakes that you want to avoid when first starting the keto diet includes 1, eating too much protein. You want to remember to consume only moderate levels of protein because if you eat too much, it can actually convert to glucose through a process known as gluconeogenesis. 2, you want to avoid neglecting all vegetables. You just want to make sure that you are choosing the lower carbohydrate vegetable options because they do contain high fiber and improve digestion. Number 3, don't underestimate those hidden carbohydrates. The most sneaky sources of sugar and carbohydrates comes in the forms of dressings and sauces. So just make sure to check the labels on those or avoid them altogether while on the keto diet so that you don't throw off your macronutrients. Another mistake would include not getting enough fats. Consuming a higher amount of fat while on the keto diet is actually what's going to keep you satisfied and less hungry. If you are not getting enough fats on this diet, you could experience more cravings and experience lower energy levels, which will likely make you want to quit sooner. Which brings us to the last and final mistake to avoid, and that is quitting too soon. Just remember that it takes a little bit of time for your body to adjust to this new fat burning process, and the initial discomforts that you may experience should be temporary. I hope that today's video has provided you with some key insights into the keto diet, how it works, what foods to eat and what not to eat, as well as a step-by-step process of how to get started. Just as a friendly reminder, if you plan to start any restrictive diet, including the keto diet, you want to discuss it first with your doctor, especially if you have any underlying health conditions, because you want to make sure that it would be safe for you to start this diet. And that wraps up our discussion today. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask me in the comments section. I would be happy to answer those. Stay tuned for next week's video where I will be discussing more in detail a meal plan for the keto diet to get started. And until next time, bye!